So I was fortunate where we had a really good person who joined our HR team early. And I had also a good person on our finance team. He later moved to London, and then we have another person now. But having those two people helped just quite a bit. So in the early days, it wasn't as driven as a governance structure per se, but three of us figuring out what all we need to do to ensure there is sanctity in the data. You have a little bit of a structure in terms of hiring and everything. And investors often need, MIS and all that quite frequently, even when you go through fundraising and stuff. So it was mostly done through these couple people that were on the team. And I would say if you hire a good, particularly like a finance person early on, and when I say good, it also is not about, again, experience or anything, but rather someone who can help you build a basic structure in place. And even in HR, if you had like even one person to do all your hiring, internal stuff initially, it can be quite helpful. Without a doubt, all this becomes a little easier when you raise money. And before I raised my Series A, I used to do all of it like alone. I literally, the entire finance, HR was done by me. There was no one there. So for the first 8 to 10 months after we raised the seed round, it wasn't like there was some big structure or something. It was just done through it. Then these guys came on board and they helped me build the structure a little bit like more. I'll tell you what I've done today, because over time as the company grows, it's harder for you as a founder to kind of know what all is going on in different parts of the company. So 2 years back, what I did was I hired two really young people on my team. So there is a person who worked in data science with a US-based company, and there is another person, she worked at another like very well-funded startup. She came through finance background, and this guy came from data science background. And I built my own small little team. Where these two people then are part of my team and they support me. And with them now we've built all sorts of structures. So the most important one is the three businesses I talked about: the visibility, TMS, and then there is a marketplace. What do we measure in these three businesses? And both the input metric that goes into it and the output metric, right? It's very important to kind of have, and it evolves, right? It's not like on day one we had the perfect set of things we were measuring and stuff. So over time, we build a framework around these are the things that matter in the business. These are the things that give you a health of the business. These are the things where there is a risk to your business. And just kept building it one thing at a time. And I do now regular reviews with my teams. And one of the things then we also had to do was, there were times when you will do reviews, people will just show up on a call and that's it. You'll do a review, you'll go back. But there was very little kind of accountability. So today, one of the things we do is, now we have defined what we're going to measure in each of these businesses. And a day before, we request everyone to share a simple reading material based on a template that we have defined. We get that a day before the actual review so that I have a chance to go through it. I'll ask questions. And sometimes when it's a Google Doc, so people will keep addressing the questions and stuff. Then we get on a call. It's a lot more productive because you've already gone through the info and stuff. And then now we keep a much closer track of the action items that come out of the meeting. And then what we measure and stuff, we again worked with a couple of our advisors to say, is this enough? What more we need to do? Your investors can be useful. So it's kind of good to have your own point of view on what you want to measure in your business. I think that's probably the biggest governance structure you can kind of have. And then a few things that are outside of all these input output metrics measurements is compliance related stuff, legal, financial compliance and stuff. There are a lot of experts in the industry that give this as a service. So We work with a company on all our labor payroll compliances, for example. Then we work with a small firm on all our GST and all that paperwork. So it's one other thing I also think about is the risks in the business. And then it's good to make sure every few weeks or months you go back and say, are you kind of measuring those risks properly? Are there any gaps? It's kind of important to do that. And having a team of your own trusted couple people that can help you put this together, particularly as you have a little bit of capital or revenue, is very helpful.